have a double uterus, and I had never been told that until this.
Wait, is it 2 individual uteruses?
Well, I haven't done the exploratory surgery to kind of figure out exactly what's going on. There's been so much going on that I was just like, I need to
One thing at a time.
put that on a shelf. I don't need to be stressing about that right now. She told me, I'm 30 now. She's like, if you're planning on having children somewhat soon, and this was a few years ago, like we don't need to take too extreme of precautions, but by 30, you need to start having some things planned out. If you want to freeze your eggs, if you want to do all the things. But I'm like, okay, I'm getting married this year. I will get right on that right after.
Hello, Hill Squad. Glad to be back with you guys today. We have a really incredible show for you, one that is definitely not to be missed. We have Hannah Brown in studio with us. In case you didn't know and have been living under a rock, Hannah is a 2-time New York Times bestselling author. In fact, her most recent book, The 4 Engagement Rings of Sybil Rain, is right here next to me. You guys probably know her as well as a lifestyle expert or everyone's favorite Bachelorette and a Dancing with the Stars champ, a winner of my favorite shows, of course. Special Forces, she won. I'm obsessed with that show. I don't know how. We're going to get into that. I have no idea how she did that. But behind her strength and sparkle, Hannah is someone who's been quietly fighting battles you haven't seen on camera, and she is going to be sharing with us those struggles for the first time, and we're very thankful that she is here and has chosen to share that with the Hill Squad. But before we get into it, our quote of the day: be gentle with yourself. Be humble during the process. You aren't always going to get it right, and you will make mistakes, but you, just as you are enough. And that is from Hannah. Perfect for the start of Mental Health Awareness Month. So, Hannah, thank you for being here today.
Thank you for having me.
I was watching Special Forces and I saw that that kind of cliff drop you had to do. And you're like, I hope at the end of this, I can learn that I'm enough. Mm-hmm. And it was really powerful. First of all, I mean, I don't know how you guys do that show. That is the scariest thing in the world. We'll dive into that. But did that help you find that peace inside of yourself?
I think it was part of the process. I wish there's just been, these moments in my life where everything changed. I haven't had that experience. It's just been a stepping stone. But I will say that experience was huge for me because behind the scenes, I had really been struggling with a lot of health issues before. That almost made me not want to go on the show. I was just feeling really bad in every sense of the word. And I had really questioned my strength, like how strong I could be physically and mentally, and questioned my worth and if I was enough. And that show and me continuing to stay there day after day and know that I still had a little bit more left in the tank, even when it was so hard, reminded me that I'm so much stronger than I think I am, that I am indeed enough, and definitely helped me take another big step forward in my healing journey.
Wow. I can't imagine struggling with health things and then deciding to do that. Did you feel like physically weak?
Yeah. So during COVID, it was like all that I had done all caught up with me. I lived in a really small town in Alabama and then was thrusted into this crazy world, like truly felt like overnight. And while there were so many wonderful opportunities with that, there was a lot. The shows that I had done are emotionally pretty taxing, and I didn't really have any tools to really be able to connect with what I was feeling and how I was just honestly dissociating from a lot of different things. And even before being on shows and being put on television, like my past I had never really dealt with. And it felt like everything just started to manifest physically. I remember this one day, I was just my body was so inflamed, almost puffy, achy. My body's always hurting. everything physically is tough to do. Like walking feels like a struggle. Like you don't feel light. I think there's like a heaviness with inflammation.
Wow. And you're so young feeling this.
Yeah, no, I had this one moment where I couldn't even lift my legs to walk up the stairs to my apartment. And I had to call it ended up my neighbor opened her door and I was like, I can't get up the stairs. I am young. I am able-bodied, and like something just started to shift. And I went to the doctor. Took me to the emergency room, and they were like, this is like, you're okay. This is just anxiety. I'm like, well, I have no color in my legs. They're actually purple.
You're at the hospital. They're telling you nothing's wrong, but your legs are purple?
Yeah. And so then I called one of like my personal trainer at the time, and he had a physical therapist that then came to my house that day, and he was like, no, like there's something going on for sure. But I do think that it was this manifestation of a lot of stress in my life that was causing true signs. Then I started going to this doctor. I mean, I got tested for everything, and I feel like I got like 10 different diagnoses. And so that didn't feel like the actual answer either. And so I really feel like the answer came from me doing the work on my mental health, and obviously like taking different precautions from some of the things that, they were saying. I got diagnosed with mast cell activation syndrome. So I have really high histamine levels. So I think people can fully go on that. And I haven't been as extreme with changing everything, but just knowing that there's certain foods that are going to trigger me that have higher histamine levels. And I was eating them every day. Like my favorite food is like what was like an avocado and some tomatoes. Those have really high histamine.
Ooh,
and so you think that
you're doing right,
but it's causing me inflammation. And so changing some small things when it came to some of these diagnoses, and there were some more extreme precautions at first where I was doing a cleanse, doing, all the things. But then I also started working with Dr. Amen and looking at my brain scan and figuring out ways to really try to do that inner healing when it came to managing my stress. And that I feel like has made the biggest difference. But I also had been diagnosed with PCOS randomly. Like I didn't even know it was like a real diagnosis when I first went into a doctor like a year before. He's like, oh yeah, you have PCOS. No big deal. Take some metformin. And I was like,
metformin for PCOS?
Yes.
I've never heard of that.
Yeah. Because a lot of what PCOS is insulin resistance. You kind of can treat it the same way that you would a diabetic.
Wow.
And so I did that, but it really, I wasn't given really much support on it. And I just like, okay, I guess this is not a big deal, because he didn't act like it was really a big deal. And my symptoms just got worse and worse. I had super irregular periods during this time, struggle with acne, weight gain. Obviously that was also due to so much inflammation. And I found a great doctor here in Los Angeles when I was here, Dr. Ali Abadi, and my friend was like, you need to go to the doctor. You need to like go this avenue. Like there's something going on with your hormones. And that was a huge win to just like have somebody support me and tell me that I wasn't crazy for feeling all these different things, that it was, yes, anxiety was there, and there was things that I needed to do to like work on my mental health and my capacity to be able to manage stress. And there were things that were going on behind the scenes that was making those symptoms even like harder to manage. So that was all kind of during that time. So I was starting to, I didn't work out for like a year. True workout. because my body hurt so bad, but I had physical therapy like 3 times a week, just trying to get my body not to hurt and to be able to build back up to being able to do the intense workouts that I used to do. I worked out every single day, hit exercises, running all the time. And it was like my body said, we're done. So I had to truly go on this like rebuilding journey. And during that, I get the call from Special Forces, and I had just gotten back into the gym, like maybe a month or two, working with a strength training coach. And I was still trying to build back up my confidence of like, okay, I can do things and not get hurt. Because I was just getting hurt all the time when you're so inflamed. Like it was just hard. And I get the call for Special Forces, and I can remember getting it and feeling like, oh no, like I'm not going to be able to do this. Like physically, I'm just getting to the point I can like, you know, do weights, feel comfortable, somewhat comfortable in the gym. And I still just like took the leap of faith, and it pushed me, and it having to go and do something like so physical, so mentally demanding, it helped me get out of, I think I had gotten into like, not a victim mentality, but I did feel really weak. Like I constantly was thinking about how weak I was. And then I got to Special Forces, and I constantly was being surprised by how strong I truly am. And it was really powerful, but it was a weird timing of it all, but very necessary. And so I'm so thankful that it kind of pushed me in a way that like I was scared to push myself.
With PCOS, at what point did you realize that it was something that needed more attention? And
I was doing all the things, and I still felt horrible. I didn't have a period for months and months and months. And the just feeling the acne, feeling so uncomfortable in my body. I was just like talking to one of my friends who had been diagnosed with PCOS, and she was like, no, like this is something that you should definitely have somebody like coaching you on and helping you. And there's certain, you know, foods that you should eat and different ways that you can go about like switching this. And so, it was really a friend who was like, I really think that you need to find a doctor that's going to like advocate for you. And I got an ultrasound, and the way that they diagnose PCOS, you have to have like 2 of the 3 indicators of you indeed have this. So they'll diagnose you. Well, I had all 3 when I went in, like my, is it androgen levels were too high. I had all the like physical symptoms of just always feeling fatigued, inflamed, weight gain, acne, hair growing places that you don't want it to grow, like all the things. And then they did an ultrasound, and this was surprising because I had all that, they call it like this classic pearl shape of these like follicles on your is it your ovaries? Yeah, on your ovaries, that you have like a lot of eggs, but they're not like, that's not a good thing with however PCOS works. And she was like, yep, you are covered up. You have a like severe PCOS. Like we need to get your body back under control. And so
was this after Bachelorette and Bachelor? Interesting.
That's
Before this, you were fine.
No, I did always struggle with my periods being irregular. Okay. And I think it could have been something that I just never had a doctor really look into for me.
Or maybe like it's there and then a lot of stress just exacerbates
absolutely.
It. Yeah.
And even with PCOS, being able to manage stress is so important because you're insulin resistant. And so stress can cause more like wreak havoc on like your blood sugar and like that system than like eating a cookie or a potato. Like it just like freaks your system out. And I didn't know how to manage my stress very well.
Were you checking your blood sugars to know?
I wasn't, no, but I did like get my labs done, and like my, what is it called?
A1C.
A1C was high.
Like really high?
Not really, but it was high. It was higher than it should have been.
Okay.
So like I was definitely like not doing great.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's been a journey, but actually like having somebody like help me and give me the tools and actually educate me on like, hey, we need to watch your blood sugar. You need to get more protein in. And I'm so glad that you're doing strength training. You need to bump that up. Like you don't need to go back to like all these high intense classes.
That's what I was going to say. So we had somebody on the show recently who was talking to us about like all that high intensity stuff with your reproductive system. Like you have to really know where you're at in your cycle. You're not supposed to be doing certain things at certain times. And for you with PCOS, I think you might have been exacerbating
1000%.
it with your heavy workouts.
Yes.
That was my connection.
Yes.
I knew I was going to remember it at some point.
Yeah. And so she was like, the goal is not to go back to that. It's to really lean into your protein intake, to
strength and isometrics, right?
Yes. Yeah. And so just having that shift was so helpful. And then also her being like, yeah, and you need to learn how to manage your stress a little bit better. So focusing on that part has been big. But another thing that was really interesting, and I still haven't quite gotten to this because I'm not at the place where I'm ready to have children. And like, I didn't want to have another thing to add stress, but like I have a double uterus and I had never been told that until this.
Wait, what is a double uterus? Because we were just talking to a doctor on the show. She was actually Dr. Sarah Reardon. She's the vagina whisperer, talking about like our uterine, what was it called? Our pelvic floors.
Oh, yeah.
And she had never really heard of it, I think, from what I remember. But is it two individual uteruses?
Well, I haven't done the exploratory surgery to kind of figure out exactly what's going on because, yeah, there's some risk in whatever may be there when I'm ready to have children. It looks like they're attached in some way. So it's just like almost split. So she's going to have to figure out like, is one bigger than the other? Can it like hold a baby? Which one's better? It's a whole thing, but just there's been so much going on that I was just like, I need to
one thing at a time.
Put that on a shelf. I don't need to be stressing about that right now. She told me I'm 30 now. She's like, if you're planning on having children somewhat soon, and this was a few years ago, like we don't need to take too extreme of precautions, but by 30, you need to start having some things plan out. If you want to freeze your eggs, if you want to do all the things. But I'm like, okay, I'm getting married this year. I will get right on that right after. But it definitely can complicate things because can the size of the uterus hold a baby? Or is one better than the other? But there have been cases of people having double uteruses and having babies and it being perfectly fine. So it was definitely a shock and just another like, okay, this PCOS also makes it, you have more likeliness to have infertility troubles, and double uterus is not like a good thing to have. Yeah. So, we'll get there when we get there, but to have the knowledge of like, hey, this is something that you're going to want to take, care of when you're ready for that time and to not be surprised by it was really helpful. And it took multiple doctors to even get to that.
Yeah. Is having a baby like a dream?
I go back and forth. I definitely think I would love to have a child. I don't want to miss out on that experience. But I haven't been quite ready yet, which I think makes sense. I want to get married first. I want to be able to do that. But it's not like I've never been somebody that's just waiting for that to happen. But I do think I'm going to want to have that experience when it's time.
Well, before we continue, Mother's Day is almost here. sneaks up fast, guys, but I am not worried because Macy's is having their Mother's Day sale with 25% off Mother's Day gifts. You met my daughter Athena earlier. Becoming a mom to Athena literally was the best thing that ever happened to me. And P.S. I waited till I was 45, and I'm really grateful I waited, even though, sometimes you're like, oh gosh, I'm going to be 102 when she's like 20, but whatever.
Yeah.
But she is the greatest gift I've ever had in my life. And I love, even having lost my mom, this day is still so special to me now because I'm a mom, but also I get to celebrate all the surrogate moms in my life. And so this is not just her surrogate mom, but also the mother figures in my life. So I'm going to save an extra 25% off when I shop for their gifts. There's Estee Lauder, Lancome makeup, Kiehl skincare, all kinds of things. They have handbags. Who doesn't want a new handbag? I've been already putting in my cart linen sheets for everyone because I'm really about spreading health, and linen is the most healing fabric. And so healing frequency, and it is the highest healing frequency, and it also is antibacterial. That's why they used it in hospitals. So I am definitely giving everybody the gift of linen, but whatever you guys want is available. And if you shop in store right now until May 11th, I've got my inspo list that you can check out in the wish list below. You'll find that in the show notes. Or you can check out Macy's Mother's Day gift guide at macys.com/gift guide. They've got lots of amazing pictures of pics of things that you will love, and the mother figure in your life, whether it's your real mom, your mother figure, your surrogate mom, whatever, will definitely love. So happy Mother's Day. I feel like it's all going to work out when it's time for you.
I think so too.
I can tell. I have a good feeling, and I think that you are going to be as giddy as I am when you have that moment.
I do too. Even my brother and his wife are about to have their first child, and it's starting to creep up on me that like I am truly excited to be able to be with my niece, and I haven't had that feeling always. I love girls too, though, like baby girls. I feel like all my friends and my brother they're about to have a baby girl, and I just love them. But I'm sure whatever happens, I'll be super happy. But it's starting to come, but I think at the right time. It wouldn't have helped anything if I was like had baby fever when I was 24 and nowhere ready for that. So
true. Well, we have so many different stressors in life now that I think like we have to get ourselves right before we bring life in as much as we can. We're never going to be perfect, but imagine how much better you are now than you were a couple of years ago, having done all of the work. And Dr. Amen has been a guest on the show many, many times. I love him. I'd love to know, like, did you ask your doctor about special forces? Because here's what I see. It is such an incredible amount of stress and trauma that's like when you have a weak inside situation that's just going to exacerbate everything. Because people are like, would you ever do it? I'm like, first of all, I can't be underwater, locked up and bound and all that. I would panic. There's just no way. I'm tough, but that's like a whole other level. And so I'm like, I've got too many things I'm trying to heal from. I'm afraid of what that would do. Were you afraid of what it would do? And did it do anything to you?
Yeah. Surprisingly, Dr. Amen was really supportive of it for me.
Okay.
And I was shocked by that because I was working with him one-on-one for a while. And I had kind of got it into my brain that I was weak. Like, how did all this happen to me? Which I've never really been like that, but I think I was just scared. I was just scared of making things worse. I just didn't feel like myself. And
when you think of all this stuff that happened to me, what is on your list at that point? Is it childhood stuff too? Is it just like the Bachelor stuff? Is it what?
Yeah, it's all of it. Yeah, I hadn't really processed some things that had happened in my childhood. My parents, I love them to death, didn't have the best relationship. We had like significant like trauma in our family when it came to, my aunt and my cousins were brutally murdered, and it was not really talked about. We didn't do anything as a family. Like that was hard. And relationships, like my first relationships were not healthy relationships. And then going on to the Bachelorette, like that was just a really hard experience for me. There was some really beautiful moments from that. And like, I'm still so grateful for that experience, but because of my naivety of the whole thing, like it was hard.
Wait, but you're blaming yourself again by saying naivete. Wasn't the Bachelorette where you got engaged to the guy who had a girlfriend?
Yes. And that was, yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
So how are you naive in this situation? This guy showed up on a show to date you.
Yeah. I think it's the whole process, not just that. Like that was hard, but I don't even sometimes like, and maybe this is me dissociating, that part doesn't even, sometimes I'm like, oh yeah, that was hard. But I think this is the whole process of like sharing your life so publicly, like the most vulnerable parts of yourself for like the world to dissect and to like have as entertainment. I had not really like thought that through.
Well, who does?
Exactly. Yeah. And I wasn't on, and I was genuinely on the show thinking like, maybe I will find love. Like I was not like, oh, this will be a good opportunity. I was like, okay, this like came to me. I didn't really even watch the show before. So I was just very naive when it came to like what this experience would bring. Mm-hmm. But for a lot of people, they do the thing, they go back to their normal life. And like,
but there are people who have gotten married and stayed together. So it's not naive to think that that's possible.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm going to keep fixing that for you.
No, thank you. I appreciate it. But just also just the aftermath of that, I guess, like all the things that were kind of happening was I had gotten into my head that, oh gosh, like I'm powerless, I'm weak. I was just not in a great mental headspace and was slowly having to work out of that. And Dr. Amen thought it'd be a really good idea because he was like, I can sometimes be competitive with myself. And I didn't want to do the show because I was like, I'm not going to be able to do it. And he was like, this is a really good experience for you to listen to your body and decide when you're done. And you can be done the first day, or you can truly take a moment to be like, do I have anything left? Like, would I be disappointed if I left? Is there still a little bit? He was like, I want you to think about that in every moment.
I have chills.
And because he's like, this is going to be great for you. Because if you decide and you listen to your body, like, I'm done, and it's the first day, then great. You didn't push yourself to a place that was unhealthy. And I genuinely feel that that was my experience on Special Forces. I don't have trauma from that show at all. It more made me have a big aha moment of that I've had to kind of work out in therapy of like, I was almost too okay with the situations around me. I felt more at peace in moments on the show than I did in my normal life because I do better in chaos. I do better. Like my body is like, has been stuck in fight or flight. And so my relationship was beautiful. And I had somebody that accepted me for who I was. And, there was more peace, but I didn't know how to live in peace. So I can live more comfortable in my mind in this chaos. And you're seeing all these grown men around you during the show, like breaking down. And not that I didn't, I had my moments of exhaustion, but having a hard time. And I'm kind of like, I'm kind of okay. Like I know how to like break this down of, okay, yes, I'm going to have to be like submerged underwater and that's going to be really hard, but then it's going to be over. Like, so I had a hard time coming back from the show and being like, why did that feel more comfortable than my life? And that's when I started to have like a little bit of a freak out of like, oh, like we've got some work to do here. There's something there, but the whole show did not, like a lot of people I feel like are like, oh, it was great, but it was traumatic. I did not feel that. I felt like it made me realize there are things I need to work on when I get back home, and I'm stronger than I think I am. And so overall, I'm like so glad that I did it, because it made me have to do some more like deeper work, and it helped me kind of get over that, like, oh, you're helpless. Your body doesn't work. It's always up against you, because it did pull through for me when I needed it to. And that was really cool.
Wow. First of all, freaking hands up to Dr. Amen, because what
best.
Incredible advice.
Yeah.
And what a great way to give you grace if you had to leave the day, the first day, the second day, the third day, but to know that you were in control. And I think he knew you never felt like you were in control. Yes. So this was a way for you to have some control. And then also, I think that life sends us these challenges to teach us. Like, I know for me, I've had my challenges that have taught me, holy shit, I am stronger than I could ever imagine. So I love that you even were thinking in those moments, like, I'm going to be underwater. It's going to be really hard, but then it's going to be over.
Yep.
That's a really powerful thought process, because when you're in the shit, if you can just remember that by next week, everything's going to be better. It's not, things aren't going to go away. Your mom's death isn't going to go away, but you're going to definitely be better than you are today.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, your life just keeps moving forward and has a way of whatever is stressful now, this deal you're doing, this, you just lost your job, like whatever is really pressuring you in this moment, there's something around the corner. And sometimes, you know, there's this great Napoleon Hill video that I watched recently, a friend sent me, where it was like, you get tested and you have these horrendous, painful moments because God is preparing you for something amazing around the corner, and you don't know it. You have no idea, but if you were to get the things you wanted now, you wouldn't be ready.
Totally.
And so I love that you made the distinction that, like, okay, I am used to chaos. I've had this family history, all this stress, whatever, because I know I do really well in high pressured situations. Like when I did Dancing with the Stars, I shattered my feet. They're like, you are going to not be able to walk. Your feet are shattered. And I'm like, yeah, I'll just do some more Marcaine injections and tape them up. I'm good.
Yeah, the same way.
Cracked ribs. I'm like, let's go. I want to experience this. But I wouldn't have been even half as good, I don't think, if I didn't have that handicap to come over. If I didn't have that chaos that, like, I thrive in, I love to, like, overcome.
Yes, same.
So I know you feel that. But I think it is a really great point. When you've lived in chaos, you've lived in fight or flight, you've had, you know, traumatic events in life, it really is hard to live in peace.
Yes.
And so I want to leave this conversation here and come back for part 2 tomorrow, guys. I want to talk a little bit about how you have attacked that work to get comfortable with peace. I don't know if you're there yet, but it doesn't matter. You're on the journey. I want to talk about your upcoming wedding and your new love and all of this. I also want to talk a little bit about EMDR's role in your healing, because I've done EMDR and we've had Tammy Valicenti on the show before with EMDR. So I'm going to talk about that, and then we're going to talk about the book and so much more. So guys, we will be back tomorrow. You're not going to want to miss this. Until next time, be nice people, make good choices, and be present.
Hey, Heal Squad. We have been on quite the journey together, and we're hearing from so many of you just how much this show is helping you heal and get better, and it makes us feel so good. We love, love, love it, and we just ask that you don't keep it to yourself. Spread the message and share the show or your favorite episode with your friends. And if you want to help us even more, you can leave us a 5-star rating and a comment on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, and follow us on Instagram at Heal Squad. You can also DM us anytime because we love connecting with you. And finally, you can also join us on Patreon for our monthly live heal events with world-class healers and ad-free episodes exclusive only to Patreon and our Super Heal Squad for as little as $10 a month. So go to patreon.com/Heal Squad to join. Getting better isn't easy, friends, but as I say all the time, it's a whole lot easier if we can do it together. We love you all so much, and we love doing this thing called life with you.
This podcast and all related content published or distributed by or on behalf of Maria Menounos or MariaMenounos.com is for informational purposes only and may include information that is general in nature and that is not specific to you. Any information or opinions expressed or contained herein are not intended to serve as or replace medical advice, nor to diagnose, prescribe, or treat any disease, condition, illness, or injury, and you should consult the healthcare professional of your choice regarding all matters concerning your health, including before beginning any exercise, weight loss, or healthcare program. If you have or suspect you may have a healthcare emergency, please contact a qualified healthcare professional for treatment. Any information or opinions provided by a guest expert or host featured within website or on company's podcast are their own, not those of Maria Menounos or the company. Accordingly, Maria Menounos and the company cannot be responsible for any results or consequences or actions you may take based on information or opinions.